Good evening. A dramatic escalation in the Iran-Israel shadow war. Tehran has executed 6 men it accuses of being fighters for Israel. The move is shaking politics and society inside Iran and raising urgent questions about human rights and the line between security and repression. Iran's state television broke the news early on Saturday, October 4th, 2025. The judiciary announced the death sentence for terrorist elements who in recent years carried out a series of armed operations and bombings targeting security in Kuzstan province was carried out in the morning hours on Saturday. No names were released, no footage of the condemned men was shown. Foreign journalists were barred from attending the proceedings, and families of the executed were not allowed to speak publicly. According to the state broadcaster IRIB, the 6 were part of a network directed by the Zionist regime, the term Tehran uses for Israel. Independent verification has been impossible. These executions follow a hardening of Tehran's security posture after the 12-day conflict with Israel in June 2025. That war began with Israeli airstrikes on Iranian nuclear and missile facilities. Iran responded with waves of drone and missile attacks on Israeli territory. Hundreds were killed on both sides, including civilians. The fighting also revealed a disturbing fact for Iran's leaders. Israeli forces had apparently benefited from intelligence provided by sources inside Iran. That revelation triggered a sweeping crackdown. Throughout the summer, Iranian authorities detained hundreds of people in major cities. New checkpoints appeared, surveillance intensified. The judiciary set up special courts to handle cases of traitors and mercenaries on an expedited basis. At an August news briefing, Judiciary spokesman Asghar Jahangir declared a number of people suspected of spying for the Zionist regime have been identified and cases filed against them. Rights groups criticized the new courts for undermining due process. According to Iran Human Rights, IHR, more than 1,000 executions have been carried out in Iran this year, the highest annual figure in almost a decade. The 6 executed on October 4th were not the first accused of collaborating with Israel. In August, Iran executed Ruzbevadi, accused of passing classified information to Israel's Mossad. That same month, Mehdi Asgharzadeh was executed for allegedly plotting sabotage as part of an Islamic State-linked network. In late September, Bahman Chubiasl was also hanged on charges of espionage. Volker Turk, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, warned earlier this year capital punishment without transparent legal process, especially for vaguely defined security offences, undermines fundamental human rights and risks fueling further instability. The alleged attacks centred on Kuzstan province, a vital oil-rich region with a large ethnic Arab minority. Kuzstan has long been marked by grievances over economic neglect, environmental degradation and political marginalisation. The government often portrays unrest there as foreign-backed subversion. Rights activists warn that equating local dissent with foreign-directed militancy risks deepening alienation and instability. Since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iran has viewed Israel as its primary regional adversary and has supported groups such as Hezbollah and Hamas. Israel, in turn, has waged a mostly covert campaign to disrupt Iran's nuclear program and regional influence. That campaign has included assassinations of nuclear scientists, sabotage of military sites, and sophisticated cyber attacks like the Stuxnet worm. Analysts say Israel has increasingly relied on recruiting local operatives inside Iran, often disaffected minorities or dissidents, to carry out such missions. Tehran points to these operations as proof of a pervasive threat. Critics say the government exploits that threat to justify sweeping repression at home. International watchdogs, including Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch and IHR, highlight recurring problems, closed-door trials with no public oversight, heavy reliance on confessions that defendants and families say were coerced under torture, lack of independent legal counsel, rapid executions that allow little time for appeals. Javed Rehman, the UN Special Rapporteur on Iran, has called for an immediate moratorium on the death penalty, stressing that its use for security-related charges often contravenes international obligations. Amnesty International said Saturday's executions appeared to be part of a systematic effort to crush dissent under the guise of combating espionage. Israel has not commented on the specific executions, maintaining its policy of neither confirming nor denying covert actions against Iran. Western governments that previously condemned similar cases have so far issued muted responses, reflecting the region's volatility and ongoing negotiations on other fronts. The UN Human Rights Office reiterated concern over Iran's alarming rate of executions. Neighbouring states, including Iraq and Gulf countries, have largely remained silent, wary of upsetting the regional balance. For residents of Khuzestan, particularly the Arab minority, the crackdown has revived fears of collective punishment and increased surveillance. Community activists abroad warn that branding local dissent as foreign conspiracy risks further alienating the province's population. The execution of 6 alleged Israeli-linked operatives is more than a security measure. It is also a political signal. It demonstrates Tehran's willingness to use the ultimate punishment to project strength and deter adversaries. But each such execution intensifies international scrutiny and raises the risk of deepening internal divisions. The core dilemma remains: how should a state balance the need to defend itself against genuine threats with the obligation to uphold fundamental human rights? For Iran, critics say the heavy-handed approach may prove counterproductive, fueling resentment that hostile actors can exploit. In the coming days, the world will watch. Will Iranian authorities release the names and trial records of the 6 executed men? Will the UN Security Council or other international bodies address the matter formally? And will this cycle of covert action and harsh reprisal push the region closer to renewed confrontation? What is clear is that the Iran-Israel struggle is not confined to battlefields or cyber operations. It is playing out in courtrooms and prison cells inside Iran, with profound consequences for its political future and for the broader Middle East.